Diddy's life reflects classic traits seen in some high-level offenders, a grandiose sense of self, a need for control, and a willingness to exploit others for personal gain. He consistently uses money and influence to suppress scandals while hiding behind a veneer of success. With the latest sex trafficking and racketeering charges, his ability to evade the law may finally be catching up to him, marking a potential turning point in his long, shadowy career. Diddy's lived a life that looks clean on paper, but the receipts don't lie. Overnight, Diddy's legal troubles have exploded, with over 100 lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault, misconduct, and involving both men and women, including minors. These allegations reveal a far-reaching pattern of abuse, underscoring an even darker side to his profile. Federal charges of racketeering and sex trafficking are also on the table, landing him in custody, awaiting trial, set for May 2025. Welcome to the criminal profiling of Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy.
Number 1. The comeback king with shadows in his closet.
Diddy is known as the ultimate hustler. He's been in the music game for decades, building an empire through his talent, business smarts, and larger-than-life persona. But behind the glamour, stacks of cash, and Grammy awards, his name has been attached to some major sus activities. We're talking allegations of violence, shady business dealings, and all kinds of wild lawsuits that make you side-eye his good guy image. But Diddy has always been a smooth operator, pushing boundaries in the music industry, building his brand, and living large. But his criminal profile paints a much more complicated picture. When you mix in the latest allegations, we're talking some serious stuff. FBI sex trafficking charges and a long line of accusations, including a sexual abuse lawsuit from his ex-partner. This is Diddy's profile through the lens of criminal psychology.
Number 2. Hip-hop, gunshots in club.
Remember the golden era of hip-hop? Diddy played a big part in shaping that sound. But where there's smoke, there's fire, and his early career wasn't all smooth sailing. The most notorious moment? The 1999 incident at a club New York, where a shooting went down while Diddy was partying with then-pop star girlfriend. Diddy and his entourage got mixed up in this shootout that left 3 people injured. He was hit with gun possession charges but managed to dodge jail time when he was acquitted in 2001. But rapper Moses Shine Barrow, however, wasn't so lucky. He got hit with a 10-year sentence for his role as the supposed gunman. People couldn't help but raise eyebrows about how Puff Daddy managed to slip out of that one. Let's not forget the death of Biggie Smalls. There's always been speculation about Diddy's involvement, or at least knowledge of what really went down. Biggie's murder is still unsolved, and there's been no shortage of conspiracy theories. Some suggest Diddy might have known more than he let on about Biggie's assassination, but no hard evidence has surfaced to tie him to the tragedy. People have drawn connections between the deaths of Biggie and Tupac, hinting at some kind of dirty hands in the East Coast-West Coast rivalry. The whispers and theories never really went away, and to this day, that cloud hangs over him.
Number 3. The image is everything strategy.
If there's one thing Diddy knows how to do, it's protect his brand. He's paid out settlements, dodged jail, and managed to bounce back from scandal after scandal. When something pops up, he throws on his best suit, hosts a charity event, or drops some motivational quotes about hustling, and boom, everyone seems to forget what just happened. Classic distraction tactics. Even after all this, the man stays relevant, but there's no denying that behind the Ciroc, flashy suits, and iconic Diddy bop, there's a darker side to his empire.
Number 4. Manipulative charisma.
Diddy has always displayed a superficial charm that masks his darker behavior. His ability to maintain relationships with high-profile celebrities and industry leaders while engaging in alleged criminal activities shows strong manipulative capabilities. His charisma often draws people in, making it easier for him to exploit and control them, which aligns with traits of psychopathy. He uses his public persona as a shield, creating a significant disconnect between the man people see and the one involved in criminal accusations.
Number 5. Assault, scandals, and the bossy bully.
Diddy's public image is smooth and polished, but his private dealings? Less shiny. Over the years, Diddy has been accused of getting handsy. In 2015, a UCLA football coach accused him of attacking him and his staff with a kettlebell during an argument involving Diddy's son. Like, really? He's throwing weights at people? The assault case was dismissed and buried after Diddy was released on a $160,000 bail, but the public simply ignored the aggression. The dude's got a rep for screwing over his artists. From Maze to the Locks, many artists who worked under Diddy have accused him of shady business practices. Basically, he's been called out for taking advantage of contracts and making sure he was the one getting paid while leaving his artists hanging with crumbs. Maze has been the loudest voice in this, saying Diddy owes him big time.
Number 6. Narcissistic tendencies and public persona.
A lot of the noise around Diddy comes from his long, rollercoaster relationship with singer Cassie Ventura. They dated for years, but after their breakup in 2018, rumors started swirling that he was manipulative and emotionally abusive during their time together. The full story never came out, and people in the industry never took any notice of the toxic dynamics. But in 2023, Cassie's lawsuit dropped bombshells, accusing him of sexual abuse, trafficking, and even violent acts like forcing her to perform sexual acts at gunpoint. He settled this lawsuit within 24 hours to control the narrative and avoid public damage. Diddy's public persona is built on the image of success, flawless, charming, and untouchable. From a psychological perspective, his ability to smoothly settle lawsuits and escape public outrage after the Cassie case shows a clear narcissistic tendency to deflect criticism and maintain a positive image.
Number 7. Criminal charges.
Earlier this year, producer Rodney Jones Jr. aka Lil Rod has accused Diddy of sexual harassment, sexual assault and a slew of other crimes, adding up to a whopping $30 million civil lawsuit. All the while, when Diddy was already facing allegations of sexual misconduct from 3 different women. But the criminal charges against Diddy are tied to a federal indictment for sex trafficking and racketeering, showing just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Allegedly, Diddy led a multi-state trafficking ring, flying women to various locations for sex parties and exploiting them through force, drugs, and blackmail. He's also facing witness tampering charges for allegedly trying to silence accusers, which only adds another layer of criminality and manipulation to his profile.
Number 8. Psychopathy and exploitation.
In criminal profiling, psychopathy is often marked by traits like manipulation, lack of empathy, and superficial charm. Diddy's handling of the women around him, including Cassie, points to a potential pattern of exploitation. Cassie's lawsuit detailed years of emotional abuse, manipulation, and even using other people as pawns in his control game, like the bodyguards and assistants who helped set up these so-called freak-offs. These behaviors align with the exploitative tactics used by many high-profile offenders accused of sex trafficking.
Number 9. Control and power complex.
Throughout his career, Diddy has shown a strong need for control over his image, his artists, and seemingly, the people in his life. This extends into darker realms, especially with recent federal charges related to sex trafficking and racketeering. Allegedly, Diddy orchestrated what is called a freak-offs, where multiple women and men were coerced into sexual acts during drug-fueled parties. These scenarios scream of a power imbalance where Diddy had full control over his victims' physical and emotional well-being.
Number 10. Escalation in crimes.
What makes Diddy's criminal profile especially concerning is the escalation over time. Early allegations involved more financial exploitation and manipulation of artists, but the newer lawsuits are increasingly violent, with elements of sex trafficking and organized criminal activity, racketeering. This shift suggests a person who is progressively pushing boundaries.
Number 11. Pervasive abuse of power.
Diddy's also been hit with multiple sexual harassment and misconduct claims. While not all have gone public with details, whispers of settlements to keep things quiet are out there. Overnight, Diddy's legal troubles have exploded, with over 100 lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault, misconduct, and involving both men and women, including minors. These allegations reveal a far-reaching pattern of abuse, underscoring an even darker side to his profile. With such a large number of lawsuits, Diddy's pattern of using his influence and celebrity status to manipulate, intimidate, and exploit others becomes undeniable.
Number 12. Predatory behavior.
The accusations against Diddy involve a range of victims, from young women and men to minors, further highlighting his predatory instincts. In criminal psychology, this shows a serial offender mentality, a dangerous characteristic where the individual continually seeks new victims, despite the risk of exposure.
Number 13. Violent outbursts and impulsivity.
Let's not forget Diddy's long-standing record of physical altercations. There's a consistent theme of violence and impulsivity when things don't go his way. The sex trafficking charges tie into this darker side, painting a picture of someone who's willing to use force, intimidation, or manipulation to satisfy his needs.
Number 14. Control and domination through fear.
Psychologically, control seems to be a driving force in Diddy's life. His violent outbursts show us a pattern of coercion through fear. This behavior is typical of individuals who seek to dominate their environment and the people in it. He may view others as objects or tools to maintain his dominance, and when things go out of his control, his response is aggression.
Number 15. Entitlement and lack of accountability.
Diddy's willingness to settle older lawsuits reflects a sense of entitlement. Settling quickly allows him to avoid accountability, reinforcing the idea that his power and money can keep him above consequences. This aligns with the psychological trait of a narcissism, where the individual believes they are special and should not face the same consequences as others.
Number 16. History of deceptive tactics.
Diddy's involvement in claims of sexual abuse, sex trafficking, and manipulating his business partners hints at deceptive behavior often found in individuals with antisocial tendencies. The idea that he was able to maintain such operations, allegedly, for years without being fully exposed shows a capacity for long-term deception, often indicative of psychopathy.
Number 17. Psychopathic tendencies.
Combining his need for power, lack of empathy, and manipulative behavior, Diddy's criminal profile lines up with traits seen in psychopathy. Number 1. Callousness. Using and discarding people, such as in the alleged trafficking cases. Number 2. Shallow emotional range. Projecting superficial charm, yet accused of monstrous acts in private. Number 3. Criminal versatility. Diddy has been involved in everything from assaults to gun charges, to now trafficking and abuse allegations, showing a broad range of criminal activity.
Number 18. Substance abuse and sexual hedonism.
Many accusations against Diddy involve drug-fueled parties and bizarre, freak-off orgies, which suggest hedonistic tendencies. This pursuit of a pleasure without regard for others' safety or well-being reflects a lack of empathy, a hallmark of both narcissistic and psychopathic personalities. According to several of his accusers, the alleged incidents were not just about control but also involved elements of sexual sadism, where pain, humiliation, or fear were inflicted for personal pleasure. Such behavior points toward antisocial traits mixed with paraphilic disorders, further aligning him with known high-risk offenders. His drug abuse may also hint at deeper impulsivity issues, where his need for immediate gratification overrides his judgment.
Number 19. Denial and self-justification.
Diddy has consistently denied all allegations, despite the overwhelming number of lawsuits, indicating deep-rooted denial and self-justification mechanisms. In his mind, his status and wealth likely justify or excuse his actions, reinforcing his narcissistic and grandiose worldview.
Number 20. Psych profile.
Diddy's life reflects classic traits seen in some high-level offenders, a grandiose sense of self, a need for control, and a willingness to exploit others for personal gain. He consistently uses money and influence to suppress scandals while hiding behind a veneer of success. With the latest sex trafficking and racketeering charges, his ability to evade the law may finally be catching up to him, marking a potential turning point in his long, shadowy career. Diddy's lived a life that looks clean on paper, but the receipts don't lie. Diddy's psychological profile paints him as someone deeply driven by power, control, and dominance. His alleged violent tendencies, manipulative charm, and callous disregard for others' well-being suggest a potential for psychopathy. His ability to consistently escape consequences reflects his entitlement and narcissism, but his increasing involvement in serious criminal charges, including sex trafficking, could expose the full extent of his dark psyche. Diddy's current legal and criminal situation paints a disturbing picture of a man who systematically abuses power for personal gain. His criminal psychology aligns with traits of narcissistic personality disorder mixed with psychopathy, showing a pattern of control, sadistic tendencies, and escalation of crimes over time. With over 100 lawsuits, including sex trafficking and racketeering charges, Diddy's profile has evolved from a hustling mogul to a suspected serial predator awaiting trial in spring of 2025.